Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to do another new brewery from here in Sweden. I've never tried anything from these guys before, but we're going to head up towards Göteborg, or Gothenburg as you would say in English, and we're going to visit West Coast Bryggeri for this one, and this is their Baltic Porter, which comes in at 7.5%. Now I'm filming this review for you towards the end of January 2016, and this beer only came out about 2 weeks ago. It was released I think on the 4th of January, but you'll be seeing this review sometime in late February or maybe even early March actually, but this is a very new beer at the time that I'm actually filming this review, so it should be a really quite interesting one for us to try. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that I'll do from West Coast Bryggeri. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, as I said, and there's all the usual social media, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd, so please follow me on there. Your support would be much appreciated. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel, and I will apologise in advance for any bad Swedish pronunciations in this video. I'm still learning my Swedish since I moved here to Lund, and the pronunciation of course is one of the harder parts of Swedish, but I hope you enjoy the review nonetheless, and please do let me know some other Swedish beers and breweries you'd like to see me review. But anyway, to tell you about the brewery, so West Coast Bryggeri are based in Västra, Frölunda, which is to the south of Gothenburg, or Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, and they were founded back in spring 2014 by Englishman Dave Barrett, who apparently had been homebrewing since his time in university quite a few years ago. But Dave apparently had worked in many different industries and he travelled around quite a lot, but he decided that he wanted to found his own company in Sweden to be close to his family. But he's actually got quite a large brewery, and it's capable of producing over 4,000 litres of beer per day, and it uses a Chinese brew kit. If you go on the brewery website, which is in the description below, you'll see the blog where he's actually talking about building up this brewery. You can see some of the very nice shiny stainless steel that he's got there. But because of all the extra capacity that this brewery has, they very recently did a deal with All In Brewing, who you saw me review again a few videos ago. They produce some really awesome beers, but they're going to share the brewery facility with West Coast Bryggeri, and it should be a very exciting time for both companies. West Coast Bryggeri have their own range of beers, which is it's actually quite prolific for a brewery that's only been in existence for about 2 years. They've got a big range of these beers, so just to list them for you, there's the 7th Prime, the Red, the IPA, the Big Brown, Bohemian Pilsner, Blonde, Wit, Belgian Blonde, and also the English Bitter, and of course there's this guy here, which is their new beer, the Baltic Porter. So for a brewery that's only been in existence for about 2 years and probably only producing for about a year, they've got a hell of a range of beers, so a big thumbs up to them for that. And as I say, they're sharing their brewery now with All In Brewing, so I'm sure there's going to be many more interesting things coming out of that partnership going there. So do keep an eye on the brewery website, and I'm sure you will see some interesting things from both West Coast and All In Brewing fairly soon. But without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer. As I mentioned to you, this is a Baltic Porter, as you may have guessed from the name, and it comes in at 7.5%. On the back here it says, West Coast Bryggeri, a Swedish craft brewery based in Gothenburg, aiming to make a range of true to style beers and some more unusual beers too. We're a family owned with an English-Swedish heritage, and we really focus on quality. And it says, West Coast Baltic Porter. Our Baltic Porter is a complex but smooth beer with multi-layered flavours. It's slightly bitter with a rich maltiness that we combine with Lublin hops to make a very balanced and enjoyable drink, so it should be a really nice one for us to do. And it says serve between 12 and 14 degrees, and I've had this one out of the fridge for maybe about half an hour, so I guess it's probably about 10 degrees now, so just a little bit under what you should serve it, but it should be quite nice nonetheless. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of that quickly. You can see quite simply designed, but it looks very nice, and you can see the nice West Coast bottle cap on this one there, just making sure the light doesn't reflect off it. It tells you a little bit about it's got a few kind of tasting notes on the back there, as you can see, 7.5% with all the usual warnings on this one. So let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting then here. Oh, I thought it was actually a twist cap on this. It had a little weird arrow thing on it, but it is a pop cap. It just had this little wee arrow thing that I thought was pointing round like a twist cap, but no, definitely a pop cap on this one. So without paying too much attention to the aroma on this one, as it pours, you do get just a little bit of a nice dark coffee-ish and chocolate malt coming off this one, but we'll have a look at it a bit more in depth just in a little minute. You can see just how dark that beer was there. You can see right through this bottle now actually. So as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice dark ebony colour. There's probably about a half or a third finger of a frothy beigey tan head on there. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. It looks very, very nice actually. So yeah, if I shine it up to the light, there is a bit of a ruby edge to it. I'll just bring the light over here so you can actually see that. There is a nice ruby edge to it, kind of chestnutty in colour actually as well. It's probably a good way to describe this one, but if I put my fingers behind it you can see there's no transparency to this beer, but that's probably just because of how dark it is. Quite a few little bubbles just going up to the bottom of the head there and some big ones sticking to the side of the glass. No sedimentation visible in it at all, so looks a very, very nice beer. You can see the head has faded away on that very quickly, so let's have a look at the aroma now. So yeah, with the aroma on this one, it actually smells quite sweet. There's some nice chocolatey malts going on in there. There's a bit of a roasted bread crust character as well. You know, if you think about a baker's loaf, if you like, and they do a well-fired crust, you can smell a little bit of that roasted element coming out of this one. But it actually leans more towards the sweet side of the malts, to be honest. Some nice chocolate and a bit of caramel in there. You can smell just a little bit of earthiness from the hops too, but not too much, so we'll sugar it up and see what else we get out of it. As I always say, you should take a good look at the aroma of your beers because it will give you some indication of what flavours you can expect from this. So when you actually sugar this up, it does start to become a bit more hoppy. You can really smell some of the kind of, there's a bit of a grassy hop comes out of it actually when you sugar it up, and the earthiness starts to come out too, but it's really quite a grassy character I'm getting out of this one as you sugar it up. The chocolate starts to come out just a little bit more too, and there's a definite woody and almost nutty aroma coming out of this beer. It's really quite interesting that I've never had a porter that you can sugar up and get such a hoppy character from. That kind of grassy and earthy nose that comes out of this one is really interesting. So yeah, as I always say, have a good smell of your beers before you actually get stuck into them, but as I say, when you leave it steady, it's quite malty and it's actually quite a sweet malt. Some chocolate, a bit of kind of roasted bread crust, probably a little bit of coffee actually in here too, but chocolate, a little bit of licorice, some caramel too, and there's a kind of nutty and woody note in there as well. But when you sugar it up, you start to get an earthy and grassy hop character from this one, so it should be quite interesting. But anyway, this is the Baltic Porter from West Coast Bryggeri near Gothenburg, Västra, Frölunda. So let's get stuck into this beer. Skål! Now that is really good actually. It does lean more towards the sweet side of things as the aroma indicated, but it's actually very smooth and just on the first taste actually very, very well balanced. So as I always say, sugar the beer around a little bit and just let your whole palate adjust to this before you start dissecting the flavour too much. But I'll stick with my first thought on this one. It is very well balanced. So with this, the middle of your palate is just blanketed with a nice kind of bready, almost kind of like a German rye bread character. That just blankets the middle of your tongue there, and the other malty flavours are just building on top of that. You have got a good kind of lingering roasted bread crust flavour in this one. As I say, it reminds me of these kind of baker's loaves of bread that you get fresh from the bakery, and it's got a well-fired top. It just, the flavour on this one reminds me of that a little bit. Yeah, but on top of that roasted character, there is a really nice sweetness there. It's a kind of milky chocolate you're getting out of this one. There is a bit of a kind of licoricey feel to this too, and perhaps some caramel, but what's interesting is it comes in with a good bit of roasted character in the malt base, then it sweetens up a little bit, and as you move into the aftertaste you start to get some of the coffee and these roasted bitter bready characters. They start to build in the middle of the palate again, and the mouthfeel becomes a little bit more dry. But yeah, this is really nicely done actually. Thumbs up to West Coast Bryggeri on this. On the basis of this beer, I will definitely try and get hold of some of their other ones to review. This is really nice. And I have to admit, that's very impressive for a beer for a beer from a brewery who have only been producing for about a year now. That's very, very impressive. But yeah, as I said, you've got that nice roasty base to this one that comes in. It sweetens out a little bit with some of the licoricey, the caramel and the chocolatey flavours, and then you start to get the coffee and the roasted bready characters from this one as well. Just all building on top of that nice German bread malt base that's in there, that kind of German rye bread flavour. There's definitely a bit of a woody and kind of nutty infusion to this one too. That's a bit more subtle, but you can feel it right in the middle of the palate, and as you move from the middle part of the palate out towards the edge of the mouth, you can just feel the dryness building from the kind of inside out, if you like. You can pick up some earthy hops in the back corner of the palate too, and there's a little bit of dryness there. That helps build a good bridge between that that really quite bitter malt base in this one, but there is some sweetness too, like I said, but these kind of earthy dry hops build a good bridge there, and as you move further forward, I'd say that the hops become just slightly floral and a bit more grassy, if you like. It's these kind of Polish hops or Lublin hops that they've put in this one seem to be quite similar to the German hops in flavour, actually, a bit earthy and a bit of a kind of floral, aromatic-y, grassy character, but it works very, very well, this beer. They've got a good balance between the sweet aspects of the malt flavour and the more bitter aspects, and the hops are quite smooth, which suits it quite well, but there is a bit of dryness as well. It's probably fair to say from this beer too that there is a bit of a red fruity ester. If you just go behind that front curve of the tongue where the grassy flavours are, you feel this little oily bubble, and there's a bit of a kind of red candied fruit ester in there. It almost reminds me a bit of these kind of Haribo Star Mix heart-shaped sweets. I always say the candied fruit flavour that you get in a lot of these beers reminds me of that. If you suck away the little white bit of the sweet and just suck on the red bit, it's quite an interesting little quirk to a lot of these darker beers. But overall, in terms of the flavour, really nicely done from West Coast Bryggeri. I'll need to try some of their other beers in the fairly near future, so hopefully I can get a hold of those. But in terms of the mouthfeel, this one, I'd say it's quite light to mid-bodied, this one. Carbonation is very smooth. It's got a little bit of an oily mouthfeel to it, and as I said to you, there's a good balance between the sweeter aspects of the malt base and also the more roasted and bitter character too. But you've got a smooth hoppiness in this beer as well, but there is a bit of dryness in the back corners of the palate from that earthy hop, and maybe just a little bit around the front of the palate too from the more floral aspects of those Polish hops that are in there. But yeah, overall a very, very good beer, and for my first visit to West Coast Bryggeri, I have to admit I'm quite impressed with that, so I need to review some of their other beers in the fairly near future. For 7.5% as well, you do get just a tiny little bit of alcohol warmth, but in terms of a porter beer, it is quite sessionable. I don't drink these beers for the sake of drinking them, you know. I enjoy these every so often. Dark beers are something that I like as just a kind of taster. I don't even session beer that much out of the ones that I review for you, but this is actually quite a light and quite drinkable beer. So if you want a lighter kind of porter beer, then this one's good for you. And if you like that good balance between the sweet and the kind of roasted aspects of the flavour, you will enjoy this one. So yeah, the most important thing is to go and check it out and try it for yourself. But as always, if you have tried it yourself, please let me know in the comment section below your own thoughts on it. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. Until the next beer review, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media things, but most importantly, go and check out West Coast Bryggeri from Västra, Frölunda, which is just to the south of Gothenburg here in Sweden. Slanger just now, and I'll catch you soon. Go and check out the other Swedish beer reviews on my channel, and I'll catch you later. There will be more Swedish reviews coming over the next little while as well. Cheers.